Yo,
Yo, how you going?
I'm good, bro.
Chilling, mate. Chilling.
Wait, my cut out.
Yeah, bro, your connections.
Can you hear me all good or is it lagging a
Yeah,
bit?
it's lagging a lot.
Yeah, what the fuck? Wait, is that better? Why
Mm,
is it? What the
your
fuck?
video's cooked.
Like proper fucked?
It was fucked before. It's a bit better now.
Give it a sec, see if it gets better.
It's like getting better.
Yeah, yeah. Yo, what's up, bro?
Yo, how we doing, boys?
Good,
Yo,
good, good.
Can you guys hear me? All good.
yeah, yo.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Sweet. Did it join? How you boys been?
Yeah, not too bad. Just no, yeah, no, not much going on.
Mohammed, you?
Yeah, not bad, bro. I mean, exams are up for uni and that, but yeah, just cramming everything in so
Fucking
far. But yeah,
laggy, hey, or maybe he is.
it's all good. I can hear you clear.
That's delayed.
Mm. I might
Yeah,
only stay for like 30 or so, or like 45 minutes
Yeah, you're
max. Cause
fine.
like, yeah, gotta drop my dad off to airport. But yeah.
I don't know. Guys, is it alright or just lagging?
no, your video is like much better than before. You're fine now. You're chill.
I think my voice is a bit delayed. I'm not sure. I know a couple other people are going to join, but I don't know exactly when. Um,
Mm.
Basically, what we're going to cover today is analogies. So we're going to really dive into analogies, how to create them, understand them, and then do some like tasks on like actually building them up, actually like being able to think of them.
Okay, sounds good.
I'll just give it like
Yeah.
2 minutes and then we'll go. They can watch the replay.
Yeah. Con, I was actually watching the video that you sent me, the one with Ronald. I'm like halfway
Long call.
through. Very long call,
A lot of
hey.
skepticism, the exact thing you're asking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you end up closing
Nah,
it
too
or
much
nah?
internal fear. You'll see it at the end. You'll see it at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Because I was reading the notes,
Mm.
obviously. But yeah. Nah, yeah, a lot of
Like, lots
internal
of internal
fear.
fear, lots of internal doubt. You'll see it. You'll see it.
Yeah.
All right, let's just go with it. And then, um, yo, yo.
On, boys.
Come on.
Chillin, how are you?
Good, bro. Good, good, good.
We're covering, so let's go into analogies. So, can you guys see my screen? Can you see
Yep.
this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where is it? All right. You're going to hear me, see me, or good to see the screen, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, analogies. Now, we all understand how important analogies are, right? It's like essentially providing a story of some kind that allows the person to see whatever situation, whatever they're looking at in a different angle, in a different light. Now, initially I was thinking like, how can I, because like it came to me pretty naturally. Like being able to think of analogies came to me pretty naturally, but it doesn't for people. I was like, how can I present this in a way where people like, you guys actually understand in depth, like what an analogy is, how to create them, etc. It came to a couple conclusions. It's like, well, we have to reverse engineer how to establish an analogy, how to formulate an analogy. So essentially it's like ADB framework, like fucking, if you want to name it like that, cool. If you don't, I don't give a fuck. But what the point of it is, okay, there's three main parts. What is the principle? What is the domain? What is the bridge? Now, what I mean by all three is the principle. Let's talk about lack of priority for a second. What is the principle behind that? What is the prospect not realizing yet? If they lack priority, what is it that they have not come to conclusion that we need to show them the conclusion? For example, if someone has goals and they lack priority behind the goals, what is the outcome off of that? Kaz, Mohammed, anyone?
Sorry, repeat that one more time.
If someone has goals
Yeah.
and they lack the priority to achieve those goals, what is going to happen because of that lack of priority?
They're not going to achieve those goals.
Right. And so the principle is lack of priority equals lack of outcome.
Yeah.
And so our analogy has to demonstrate that specific point.
Yeah.
Right. So now we've understood the actual principle. What we want to do is connect it to them in some way, shape, or form. Like if someone completely hates fucking golf, we would not share any analogy to do with golf because they fucking hate it. It's not going to click with them in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Maybe a bad example, but the point is like when we speak to the guy at the start, first 2, 3, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we can get understanding of who he is, what he likes, etc. To build the analogy of some, like whatever comes up where you're like, I need to share an analogy that's based off of him as a person that he could resonate with. Because the more bought into that analogy he is, the better it lands.
Yeah.
Then it's ultimately building the bridge. So it's like, how can we actually connect the dots? Like what he relates to and the principle we're trying to share, what do we actually say to connect them two together? Okay. Now we have some examples, right? So obviously you guys know my lack of priority analogy that you're more than welcome to copy, paste, and use. It's very effective.
Yeah.
If we actually like break it down, right? It's like everyone realistically has a mum. So we're just betting the fact that they do, right? And everyone loves their mum. We're also betting the fact they do. Very, very rare where you'll get a different situation, right? So that way they can instantly connect to their mum. So there's the domain side of things. It's personal to them. Now, when we look at the principle of it, it's like, okay, he's lacking priority. Would he lack priority for the important things in his life? For example, his mum. If his mum had something going on, how important is she and how quickly is he going to sort or help her? And off of that answer, off of that response, is where we can connect his goals and show or build that bridge.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Kaz?
Yeah.
Cool. So reverse engineering it is like we're connecting the mum, then we're connecting an irrelevant person in his life. What that irrelevant person is someone he works with, maybe he's never spoken to, right? Now, at the end of it, we can then tie it in to him and say in the same way, once he's bought in the same way, if like as you treating your coworker where you wouldn't go to the hospital, how come you treated your goals like that? Because is it fair to say that if it was a priority, you would have done everything you can to actually go after them? Now, that's just an analogy for lack of priority. But you can obviously think of multiple others. That's just one that lands well all the time.
Yeah.
If we look at fear of failure, right? What is something that everyone's gone through at one point in time? Riding a bike, realistically, right? Everyone learns to ride a bike at some point. Now, the biggest thing with that is like people are scared to fall. So people are scared to fail that bike. Anything new that you're doing in the world, anything new that you're trying, there is clearly going to be a fear of failure behind it. Because if you've never done it before, the only reason you wouldn't do it is because you're scared to fail that thing. If you've never played a sport before, you're scared of failing, and what failure could look like could be different for everyone. Could be, embarrassment. That's failure in your eyes. It could be like completely fucking it up and ruining things, breaking things. It could be multiple different things, but it's still a form of failure.
Yeah.
Now, the principle behind fear of failure is, what is that fear of failing costing that person? Kaz?
I didn't hear the last bit. What was
What is the fear
of failure going to cost them?
Yeah.
Was that, yeah, okay. I mean, it's just going to cost them like to try it, I guess. I mean, they're going to because they're going to think obviously in the negative way. So, and they're not going to be able to try it and see the positive.
Yeah. And so that's the principle. It's like that fear of failure is costing them an outcome they could have in life. So we understand that they may not realize that them being scared to fail is causing them to not even be able to win in the first place. So we need to show that as a vision. So when we hear that, it's like, yeah, I was just scared to fail, for example, like I'm scared to fail. He's not realizing what that fear of failure is actually costing him. So our responsibility is to show him what it's costing him. So what we've done is establish the principle. We've established what it is that he's losing because of that specifically. The second thing is the domain side of things. Now, people can resonate to riding a bike. It doesn't have to be specific to anything they've said, but more so is like, if he's a young guy, right, he's probably driven a car before, you can use a car. If he's an older guy, maybe he's and it resonates more with family side of things. Like, you just kind of tailor it to the person.
It could be like having a baby or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like just tailing the basis of the story off of who they are as a person, kind of relating to them in a sense, because that way they can feel it a bit more. Now, just in this example, right, we have a bike. Like, think back to, like, have you ever learned to ride a bike before? Yeah, I have. Okay. First time you did it, did you ride it perfectly? No. You had training wheels probably, right? And like, is it fair to say you probably fell off like once or twice? Yeah. Okay. And like, when you were going to start that, is it fair to say you're pretty scared to do it? Probably, right? It's like, we're just bringing it to light. And it's like, well, let's say you were never able to get back on that bike after that first failure, after that first fall. Obviously, it's not the end of the world. You can't ride a bike, but what is the outcome that would happen if you never got back on that bike? Well, I never learned how to ride it. In the same way, is like, and then we can relate it to whatever we're selling, right? Is like, that fear that you face when you're riding a bike is the same kind of fear here. And like, what is the most likely outcome if we aren't able to overcome that? XYZ, whatever. But the point is, right, is like, and obviously that's very, very vague. We're not in any conversation. We're not in any, like, just kind of bringing it to life. Is like, we are just bringing the fear of failure where they can connect, resonate with. They can see, okay, yeah, I was scared at that point, or most likely someone would be scared at that point to ride a bike. And we're showing them that what happens if they let the fear overcome them versus if they overcome the fear, the outcome of both, and then relating it to the current now and the situation now and what they're trying to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, this is a very rough example that fucking Claude AI built. It's not off my dome, but the point is like, the principle, domain, and bridge is established there. And that's what we're focusing on, because that's how you get an effective analogy, right? For example, skepticism. Now, most people that you're going to speak to have cars, they've brought it to a mechanic at some point. most people get ripped off by mechanics, or they don't do a good job, or they get overcharged, etc. Right? Because not a lot of people are car people, they understand where to go, etc., etc., etc. Now, because of that, because of knowing that, mechanics, may overcharge, may just add certain things in the package, XYZ, XYZ. Firstly, that's a stereotype, but also something they may have experienced that creates skepticism to go to another mechanic, to go to mechanics. That's why you'll see women say, "Can you take my car to a mechanic to a guy?" Because they are scared and they fear what may happen. That skepticism of they may overcharge, etc., etc. Now, this is just talking about mechanics, right? The point is we're showing them that skepticism is okay and it's normal, right? But that, like, for example, here is like in this analogy, the protection, right, that's kept you from a bad mechanic has also stopped you from finding a good one. Interesting conversation I had recently with one of my friends that I met on a night out. So, this chick. We were somehow got into a really deep conversation. And it was about like previous relationships, right? And she basically shared how the guy did her really wrong, and some of the things he put her through, and etc., etc. And that was maybe a year ago. And since then, she's been really turned off from guys, like not interested, doesn't want to go through that again, doesn't want to give him time of day, just completely off of them. The reason I'm sharing that is that ultimately is skepticism in her finding a new guy because she doesn't want to go through the same thing that she went through. What I shared to her was, I appreciate that I understand that you're obviously aware, which is good because you now have standards and an awareness of what to look for and how to, and your self standards. It's like what to kind of have in a guy and what you want. My question for you is, because you're in the mindset of not wanting to go through that again, how do you know that you haven't turned down a good guy?
Mm.
Now, how do you think she viewed that?
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Right? Because like what she's living her life in day to day is, I don't want to go through the same stuff. I'm trying to protect myself.
Mm.
But that protection that she's setting on herself can also cost her the potential of a great partner. And I said, at the end of the day, you can never run away from that happening to you again. You can never plan it to not happen again. But you can't look for someone and try and hope that it doesn't happen again and not go with someone, even though they look and match things that you're looking for, because of that fear, because you never know what could happen. You have to let people do what they do and make sure that you fill your cup up. And I shared all these things with her. And how do you think she viewed it? That skepticism changed into openness, like actual, like opportunist. It's like, oh, maybe he's right. Does that make sense? Now, that was me reframing her to actually then have a conversation with me about taking it further. So I kind of cooked her. But you see the understanding.
Yeah.
That's what we want to realize, is that realization that I just gave you of, fuck, yeah, she probably said, maybe you're right, is the same realization we're trying to share for these prospects. They see skepticism. What's the principle? Well, them being skeptical is a defense mechanism to not do something, but it's also costing them being able to do something. Similar to fear. That's what we want to establish, is like, what is the specific here? How can we show that to them in a different angle where they can see what it's costing them? So we have to be aware of, if they're skeptical, what does that cost them in life? What are they missing out on because of being skeptical? And we have to then, once we've realized that, we know that, it's like, okay, how can I show this in different lighting so that now they do? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We also have a lack of responsibility, right?
Mm.
Now, an analogy for this is kind of difficult. How I would look at it is like, if you were to pick up lack of responsibility, it would be in the case of like an all or nothing mindset. Or it would be in the case of like a bit of lack of priority as well. Because like if they lack priority, they lack the responsibility that's their life. So how I would kind of like share an analogy and bring out like a responsibility would be in a conversation where we've established them not doing everything they can towards their goals, or them settling in the same position that they've been in for a while, or they've been in the same position for 2, 3 years and they've done a little bit or they've done nothing about it. That's lack of priority and responsibility. Okay. Then they share something like, yeah, I was just, it just didn't feel like the right time. What I would share would be like, let's say, or wait, how can I word this? If they were like, New Year's resolution, right? And they said for December 1st, they said to all their mates, like, yeah, I'm gonna lose all this weight. I'm gonna start my gym fitness journey, etc., etc. And you have a conversation with him, and as like how I'd share the analogy is like, well, let's say we had you and I had an overweight friend. He was fat, right? And he said to us he wants to lose his weight. He wants to, take his fitness seriously, his journey seriously, right? Put time and effort into it. And we said, cool, let's do it. And he says, yeah, but I want to start in a month's time. What would you tell him? Now, what are they realistically going to say? Oh, I tell him to do it now.
Yeah.
Why would you tell him that? Oh, because like, why wait? In the same way, understanding that, like if you pushing this off or not doing anything about it over the last 6, 12 months, can you see how in the same way, like, or you could be like, when are you going to start taking your own advice? Because like if he shares that, that's what he would tell his friend. Why is he not telling himself that? Him realizing that is now like, okay, now I'm going to take on the responsibility and say, if I'm going to tell other people to do this, I'm also going to tell myself to do this now. Is that a bit confusing how I break it down? Should I go again? Or does that make sense?
No, I get it.
You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, makes sense.
So like the lack of responsibility is like, yes, this analogy you can use.
You're just putting them in another like shoe, I guess, and then like relating it back.
Exactly. So like in that instance of like all or nothing mindset or like responsibility, if I can get him to share the advice, once he shares it, he'll be like, oh shit, I should listen to myself. He'll feel weird saying it. So example, if we have a friend and he's like, yeah, he's told us he's going to go to the gym every day, and we have a conversation with him and he says, yeah, I was busy today, so I wasn't able to go. What would you tell him? What would you say to him? Well, why not? Why don't you find the time? When is it that you're going to start taking your own advice? And like him telling the advice, and I can use that wording against him. And like he realized, yeah, fuck, I got to start doing that. Or it's all realization. It's all like, as long as we understand the principles of what's going on, so we understand that this equals this. Like responsibility equals him never being able to prioritize and focus on his goals and take them on. What happens because of that? Well, now he's never going to push towards his goals, never achieve them, be stuck in the same position, etc. As long as we understand the flow and effect of each thing, we can create an analogy off of that. So if you look at flow and effect of skepticism, after breaking it down, Kaz, what would it be?
Will you identify like the thing that he's skeptical and like what that would, I guess, the outcome of being skeptical would be?
Mm-hmm.
Then I guess you put it into a perspective for him where
like what's the flow and effect of skepticism itself? Like if someone's skeptical,
you're asking me?
Yeah, what's the flow and effect?
The flow, like the outcome would be that he wouldn't try the thing because of his past experience. He wouldn't be able to experience the positive outcome of it.
It's like a defense mechanism.
Sorry?
It's like a defense mechanism where he's keeping himself safe, meaning that he stays safe, but he also never gets to experience what could happen.
Yeah.
So we understand the principle,
and
we understand that specifically. We can now share an analogy or think of one in the moment.
Yeah.
Mohammed, what is the flow and effect of fear of failure?
Like it's going to cost their future. Like if you don't try, then you're never going to know. So you can tie it back to like not the current situation, but their future self,
Yeah, you can do that. The ultimate thing, the flow and effect is if someone fears failing, firstly, then because of that fear, they're never going to give themselves the chance to succeed.
Yeah.
Secondly, is failure is part of being successful. So why fear it? You can't become successful without failure.
Fair. Yeah.
And ultimately, is like that costs them the life they want because they're scared of it.
Yeah.
So we understand those principles. We understand how to share a different perspective on it. If we look at lack of priority, what's going on there? Either one of you can answer.
Yeah, he doesn't see that should be like a main focal point. But like he doesn't like see it properly, and maybe if he doesn't see the lack of the focal point, it's going to slip away from him.
Yeah.
Well, there's also another way if you put it like the lens that he's seeing it through is not clear. Like if something's not a lack of priority, you can tell that there's something else that is a priority, which shouldn't be a priority, if that kind of makes sense. Like I guess it's about like putting the right thing as the right priority.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the lens, yeah.
And so like these are obviously common things that come up, like beliefs and etc., that you share analogies off of, right? It's like the fear of failure, being scared, skeptical, lack of priority, lack of responsibility, etc. Like they're the most common analogies that you'll share. That doesn't mean that they're the only analogies. What I mean is like now I don't want to get too technical. I'm just trying to show you an example. Let's say we're in like a point of objection handling, right? It's like drop the price. All of a sudden he gets like nervous, and how I look at it is like he's on a stove. He's the pot on a stove and it's heating up. And it's heating up and he's like realizing it and he's trying to get off it. And what he'll do is like try and say things and do things to get off the core, him getting off the stove. We want to interrupt that pattern. What I'm going to say is, do you know the difference between nice and kind? What is he going to say? No. Now I'm going to share an example, an analogy of what nice versus kind looks like. I'm not going to get into it specifically, but that analogy takes him off the stove. So it's interrupting the pattern, right? Takes him off the stove where he's now focused on what I'm saying, not the fact that we just spoke about the price. When I talk about nice versus kind, the goal behind it is to, so for reference, I'll just share it so you don't think I'm waffling. If I say, hey man, do you know the difference between nice versus kind? He'd be like, no. Okay, well, like let's say we're at a dinner, a couple of mates, and one of the mate, like you're at a dinner with a couple of mates, and one of your mates, you like near them and their breath stinks a bit. And like you can notice that people around the table also can sense that. Now, the nice thing to do would just leave it and just let it be. Right? Like the kind thing in this scenario is to pull him to the side, give him some gum and say, hey, this is making a bit of people uncomfortable, but here you go, you're sorted. Now, do you mind if I be kind to you for a second? Yes. Now I have full permission to tell him that this way of making decisions, pattern, etc., is wrong, and he's agreed to let me do that. But that analogy of like taking him away from what he's thinking about and showing him like being nice versus kind, and him looking at me being kind to him, that's another example of analogy. Now that's technical. I'm not going to get into that.
Wait, what triggered you to go into that analogy? So you price dropped, and what he
so
did
let's
he say?
say
Did he say something in particular, or
not necessarily? Let's say price drop and he's like, yeah, I'm just going to go think about it, this and that. And he keeps going through the same patterns. So let's say he's wanted to do this for a while. And every time he gets close to making a decision, he runs away. And I've recognized that that's a pattern. And I've showed him that that pattern is because of fear and X, Y, Z. I've broken it down. And yet he's still not buying into it fully.
And he goes,
he's still like clashing with me. He's still not connecting with it. I can see that and you'll feel the energy and you'll be like, okay, he's on the stove. His pot is hot on the stove. I need to now interrupt that pattern in his brain.
So then you introduce the nice versus kind thing.
Exactly.
And then you can be like, can't be kind, whatever. And when you do be kind, you're like, oh, okay, well, and you bring it back to like what that problem was that you've shown the light on before. Yeah. Like you're like,
think about this, right? Like if he's on the stove, like thinking about like this and fear and buying and this and whatever. If I now start sharing a story about breath stinking, he's going to be like, what's going on? his brain detaches for a moment of what he was just thinking about, which allows me to go back into it and actually him and listen to me.
Yeah.
Now, once I've shared that, I can then sit there and go, do you mind if I be kind? Do you mind if I be kind to you for a second? Yeah. You're like, yeah. Like, if you are serious about wanting to change and you actually want these things for yourself, if you look at the last 12 months of how you've gone about these decisions and what it's looked like, every time you've come close, what have you done? Run away, or you've not gone ahead with it. And the only reason you would have done that is not because you didn't believe it was possible, because you didn't believe you were possible. You could have done it. And because of that fear that you've lived with and carried day to day with, can you see what that's actually cost you in the progression you could have had? Now, me being a coach, telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, and it's being kind to you, not nice to you. I want to see you win. I want to see the best for you. How can I help you if you don't want to help yourself and actually overcome these challenges rather than let them overcome you? But either way, like what I'm able to do is share that and be specific and straightforward with him without him looking at me with a gun to my head.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So like that specific, why I wanted to bring that up is that is an analogy in itself of nice versus kind that gets him looking at me in a different way in that moment to then go down a different path. So analogies can get very technical. What I want you to focus on is these main ones. Is like, these are the main kind of beliefs and things that you'll face.
Can you send
How can I share something on the back end of that?
Could you give another example of a skepticism analogy? Because like the mechanic one, like it makes sense.
Of course.
But like,
yeah. Well, let's break down. Let's work through one together, like all of us. Because like I'd rather just like work through one so we can create one rather than just give you one.
I saw one online, like about who was saying it? Was it like maybe Yash? You know Yash?
Yep. Yeah, I know Yash.
They're saying about the island one. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Share it so everyone.
Well, like
I've heard of it, but yeah,
I'm not like an expert on it. But it's like, as if you're on like an island, and I don't know if this might link. I don't know.
Go ahead.
You're on like an island, and you just see the blue water, right? And you know that people have tried to swim across to the other island with the big mountain on it, with the lookout, and you know they failed, but you know it's possible. You can see that, you can see the island there. You know it's there. You know it's possible. I guess you have two options. Like you either sit there and sort of sit and like count your days, or you sort of go out and try and reach to the mountain.
Give it a go. Yeah.
I've obviously butchered the delivery.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I've only watched it once, but
wait, let's actually get that up because it could be effective.
I actually like thought it was a fucking like a good analogy. The way he delivered it.
Instagram?
I think it was on a YouTube video.
Okay, it's like it might actually be beneficial to bring up.
Yeah, and I don't know if like that's like the specific one, but that's something that came in my head because I remember it because it was like fuck, like that was like a good like analogy. It was a bit long.
Yeah.
If you find a way to like shorten it, I think it actually could be like effective to use. I'll try and find it as well.
Okay, so this video is actually very good. I'm gonna link it. The Yash one.
Is it different to the burn the boats one? Is that different to that one, right?
I don't think it was the boat one, no.
Because I've heard one where it's like obviously, like when people say like, for example, yeah, man, I'm only looking to make like an extra 2K a month, right? And then they're like, okay, cool, man. Like, obviously that's the initial goal. Like, what's the goal like further down the track? Oh, it'd probably just be like 2K a month. And then you can go into the analogy of like, okay, who do you think is going to succeed more? I mean, if you're on an island and you've got no way to go back to the shore, or like you're on an island and realistically like there's a yacht waiting there just in case like you don't make it across. It's like who's going to succeed more? It's like obviously the guy without a fucking boat. So I heard that one as well. It's like
that's the video, Connor, by the way.
Yeah. So we're gonna watch
it's there. It's like the third one. Another one I heard was like it's similar to the Burn the Bridges one, but it's like in Batman.
Batman, yeah,
Yeah,
the net, yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
when he's in the cave.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he
I have a
doesn't tie
TikTok
the.
on it. I have a TikTok on it. Have you?
Oh.
Do you know follow my TikTok?
No, I don't watch your TikToks, bro.
So bro, I don't have TikTok.
So
No, I'm joking. I haven't seen it.
this one is like very good with fear of failure. That Batman one. So that one, what's riskier is a great analogy. Where you're putting it into light of what's riskier path. And that can be in reference to fear of failure, skepticism. They're all good. Now we're gonna watch this Isla one just because Kaz brought it up. Let's see where we can tie it into.
Analogy. The third analogy I use, and this is an analogy I use in objection handling, it's called the island reframe. Okay, this is probably one of my favorite analogies or reframes that I've ever used, and it goes something like this. Okay, let's say a prospect gives you an objection. I want to think about it. I need to speak to my spouse, whatever the case might be. This is the verbiage of it, and I'll explain to you why this reframe works really well. When most people are in fear and they don't understand why they're afraid and they don't actually know like what's causing that, you have to give them something they can picture that makes sense. And so I'm going to say the analogy to you, and then I sort of want you to mentally process it, and then I'll explain why it works the way it does. So somebody gives you an objection. Think about it, partner, money, doesn't matter. It's like, hey man, okay, that makes sense because we all make decisions based on our perspective, right? Yes. But the tough thing, man, the very tough thing is being able to make decisions based on where you want to go and not where you are. Because if I continue making decisions based on where I am, it's the only place I end up. Right? I'll give you an example. It's kind of like being on an island. If I'm on an island and I'm surrounded by 17.1 miles of just water. So every decision I make as an individual is based on the fact that I'm on an island with 17 miles of water with limited resources. That's fair. But if my goal now is to get on top of a mountain, because if I'm on top of a mountain, I got a different perspective, bro. But how do I as an individual get off this island to this mountain when I don't know it's there, but I don't know how to get there? There are 3 steps I got to take. The first step, man, is I got to believe there's a mountain actually there. So do you believe achieving the 60-pound weight loss goal, tripling your business, having a good relationship with your spouse, do you believe that's possible? Okay, great. Yeah, you do. You don't see the mountain, but you know it's there. Second step I got to do is I got to strap on the shoes. You've done that. You've hopped on the call today. We've made a plan. You've strapped on the shoes. But now the third step, man, which is the hardest fucking step, is you just have to start swimming. Because you can spend another 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years around this island, man. The view's not going to change. North, south, east, west, the water's still going to be the water. And so it isn't until I start taking actions based on where I want to go that I actually get there. And the fact is, man, you might start swimming and you might drown. That's the reality. But it's better than being like every other dickhead that stays on that island hoping for a different view. So what do you feel like you have to do to put yourself in the best position possible to get off this island to that mountain so you can have the perspective you need to have, not that you want to have? What actions have to be taken for that? Okay, and so why this analogy works really well is because everybody can picture themselves when they're in fear on this island. They have limited resources, lack of money, whatever it might be to purchase your product or service, but they want to get to the desired outcome, which in this situation is going to be the mountain. And it's very tough because they don't actually see the result. They don't know if it's going to happen. There's a level of uncertainty, but they know they want to get to that mountain. And so this analogy is very good where it's like they're on the island, they can envision the limited resources, but they want to get to the mountain, but they have limited resources and they don't know how they're going to get there. But logically, if you're on an island, on a deserted island, and you want to get to a mountain or you want to get off that island, there's 3 steps. You got to believe something's out there, you got to strap on the shoes, and you got to start fucking swimming. That's all you can do, and that's pretty much all your prospect can do to get the outcome they want. Okay, analogy number 4. Analogy number 4.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does everyone
makes
understand
sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
So that is like good, like very, very good with skepticism. As well as like fear of like just a fear itself. As he said, it's like a lot of people aren't aware of their fear. They just know it's there. They don't understand why it's there, how it's there, what to do about it. They just know it's there. They feel it. So everyone can understand like being on an island, being stranded on an island is not ideal. It's like, what are you going to do about being stranded on that island? You have 2 options. You either accept it or you do something about it. In the same way in life, you either accept the current position you're in and expect things to change, or you start doing things and actually allowing things to change. So we're just putting that into picture. That's a great fucking analogy. I sent that video in. I would 100% watch it because it adds different angles, different things you can include, common analogies. The ultimate thing though is like, I don't want to just give you like 10 analogies and then you just use them the same ones every single time, but you don't understand why you're using them or what's happening when you use them. So as long as you understand like what you're trying to change, like the perspective you're trying to help them see it in, like this perspective you're trying to showcase them or present to them, as long as you understand that and understand that this saying is doing this to allow him to see it in this, then you can use those things. But if you don't understand like, the analogy he gave and you just say it, it's never going to land because you will not have conviction behind saying that analogy. because you don't even understand it yourself. You're just saying words. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if we look at, for example, if I share this again, what I want you guys to do, I think this is it. Yeah. Okay. So write down these 4 points. So lack of priority, fear of failure.
Are you able to send that doc?
I'll send it across, but before I do, write down these 4 points on a piece of paper in front of you right now. Lack of priority, fear of failure, skepticism, and lack of responsibility. Write them 4 down. Write those 4 down.
Lack of priority, fear of failure, skepticism, and
lack of responsibility. Now, what I want you to do is for all 4, write out the flow and effect of having that belief or of having that perspective. So if you lack responsibility, the flow and effect of that. Same with fear of failure, same with skepticism, same with lack of priority. Write out the flow and effect so you see it, so you visualize it. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to get you guys to, using the principal, domain, and bridge, is like create some kind of analogy in your head off the dome. So firstly, write on the flow and effects so you understand what lack of responsibility actually, like what happens because of having lack of responsibility. Same with the other 3. Once you've done that, let me know, and then we'll focus on the second part.
I just have a question. So you said like write down the effects, right? So with skepticism and lack of responsibility, low-key, don't you think they go hand in hand? Because I'm saying staying in the same position. If you're gonna take responsibility, you're gonna stay in the same position. And for skepticism, if you're like keep on thinking about the same like stuff over and over, like, oh, I need to think about it, oh, I need to do this, like finding a way to like leave and run away, you're kind of staying in the same position, right?
Could responsibility be more like, you could go on the angle like, well, then you're never going to have control over your life because you're letting other things influence your decisions rather than taking
Exactly
control.
That. So like lack of responsibility is like, because like I'm never gonna, like no one else is gonna do the work, put in the hard yards, do any of this shit other than you. As well as that is you have to be the one to make the decisions to do that, to take those steps for yourself. If you don't take those steps, yes, an outcome of that is staying in the same position, but it's a different way to get that outcome. So if you're not taking on responsibility for your decisions, that doesn't mean that you're scared to, is you're not taking on the responsibility, meaning that you will end up staying in the same position, but you also not have control over your life. You will be living in someone else's life. So it's, you will say, for example, you go to your parents to make a decision. You're living their life, not yours.
Yeah.
Whereas
so living someone else's life. Yeah.
Skepticism is like you're more content with staying where you are because you're scared of a potential outcome. And so you're okay to and like you're in the position of staying where you want to, like where you are, and not being able to put yourself in an uncomfortable position
Yeah.
and go like in and put yourself in a better position ultimately.
Yeah. So it's just the way you look at it, hey, like
Right.
the angle.
Well,
Okay.
because like any limiting belief, no matter what it is, the ultimate outcome is you're going to stay where you are in life,
Oh, yeah, true.
right? Like any of them, you're ultimately going to stay in the same position until you do something about it.
Yeah.
But
I
each one
guess,
has a
yeah.
different angle
Yeah,
to
because
keeping
like
you in the same
lack of
position.
priority, the effect of that is you won't achieve your goals,
So you
which
stay
is
in the same position.
also saying, yeah,
So it's an ultimate outcome. Like that's the ultimate is you stay
Yeah.
where you are. But it's like you're gonna stay where you are off of different angles depending on what it is specifically.
yeah. Okay, it's just the angle. Yeah, okay. Got it.
Yeah. So have you got all four like the flow and effects written?
Yeah, so like lack of priority, I got like you want to achieve your goals. So that's the kind of angle I looked at it. Fear of failure, like it costs your future and like brings you down to achieving your most potential. And the skepticism, scared of a good outcome, being comfortable, which is scary. And then lack of responsibility. I said stay in the same position, but now obviously what you said, like no control of your life and living someone else's life.
Yeah, well, like because lack of responsibility, like whose decisions and actions lead them to where they want to be.
Yeah,
Like whose decisions and actions have led you to this position right now?
it's more like
Yours.
yours. Yeah,
So that point behind lack of responsibility is are you making every decision and action for yourself based off of what you want? And are you doing it? Like, are you taking that on to the fullest and giving every day the most? Like, it all ties in there. One thing I want to bring in is lack of priority that you mentioned. Say it again, what you wrote.
you won't achieve your goals.
Okay, that's very vague.
Mm,
What is lack of priority?
like you're not prioritizing your needs, like what you need to do, or like that will get you in a better position.
Yeah,
Like,
and what things showcase that someone lacks priority?
mm, like ah, good question.
Maybe like the length of time that it's taken
Oh,
to
yeah.
do something about it.
Mohammed, what else?
Like how long they've been in that position for. Like
So
you can
length of time.
tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, length of time.
What else?
Uh, like what they're doing. Like,
Good.
yeah,
Good. What are they doing day to day? Their
yeah,
goal, number one goal is to lose weight. Is their day prioritized around losing weight?
yeah,
Now, that is what showcases lack of priority. And then if that's not there, so they're not giving 100% day to day, they're not prioritizing it, they're not putting it first, etc. The outcome of that is, well, then they actually will be in the same position and won't achieve their goals. So that's the ultimate outcome. Like, what does it actually look like if we break it down? Does that make sense?
yeah. Makes
Okay, so
sense.
now we have all four written down. Kaz, you have all four as well, like the phone effects.
Yeah.
Okay. What I want you to do is not a full story analogy, but create, like write out for each four, write out a potential example of an analogy. It doesn't have to be fully complete, but what I want to see is that like you can actually put two and two together.
It can't be the same one, hey?
That's not the same one.
Yeah,
You can use it as an example and spin it in your own way,
yeah,
as long as it showcases the ultimate principle. So, lack of priority, for example, you're showcasing the principle and allowing that person to see it in a different angle. In the same way where I shared that story of me with the girl, and you guys like, yeah, maybe he's right. That realization is like what I want to see as well. How's how you going?
No, I'm done.
Okay, Mohammed.
I've only done two. Hey, I'm stuck
Okay,
on lack
that's
of
right. That's
clarity and
right.
skepticism. Yeah.
Let's go through the two that you have, and then Kaz will go through his as well.
Yeah, so for fear of failure, I've got like learning how to drive a car. So I've got like obviously like you're gonna hit a curb. You're not gonna be perfect driving, like you're not gonna have that steering control. And you're gonna like obviously hit the line when you're trying to reverse park, parallel park, right? So obviously the more you do it, the more you're gonna like perfect it kind of thing. But you're gonna fail. Like
Yep.
you're still gonna fail. And then lack of responsibility, I've just got like so when you build a vision board, um, and but like you don't live the life like you want to, like the way you want your future self to. So let's say you want to wake up at 6 a.m., right? But then you don't actually like, stick to your word kind of thing, like your vision board says.
Yep.
Um,
Nice.
but
Nice.
yeah, that's what I've got.
That's a little bit of accountability
As
more than
yeah,
responsibility, but I get the idea and it does make sense, which is good.
yeah.
Kaz, what have you got?
For skepticism, I've got
Yep.
like the ex-boyfriend girlfriend analogy.
Nice.
I saw it online. So basically, it goes like, like Connor. Like, have you ever had a ex-girlfriend before?
Yep.
Yeah, and I guess like in the future, you'd want you'd want another partner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, are you gonna let that shitty ex-girlfriend
No, the
fuck up
reason I'm
your
laughing
chances?
is it's pretty recent. Anyways, keep going.
Oh, yeah. I mean, not you personally, but yeah. Anyway,
No. It's a funny. It's the my. Don't worry. No, it's like I don't. No. But yes, I know the analogy
yeah,
you're talking about.
yeah. Like,
Yes,
would
very
you
true.
would you let your shitty ex like
Yes,
not let you go and find
not here.
find
Good,
the girl you want?
good.
Um, I don't know if like this fits with lack of priority, but it's one. I think it was on the same video, that Yosh video, but he said that I don't know if you like the ice cream truck one, like where it's like imagine this fat kid, right? Like this real, like he's got these tight shorts on, he's got a tight shirt on, he's sweating, and he's running towards an ice cream truck. He's sweating, he's panting. Okay, now put that same fat kid in a burning building,
Yeah,
and
you
he's
said
also
yeah.
like, there's two different types of running.
Yeah.
And it's like you can connect that to, okay, now you with your goal, to, I don't know, like earn $10,000 a month. Like, are you the fat kid that's going towards the ice cream truck, or are you going out of the burning building? I don't know if that like works as well, but
Not straight. I get what you mean.
it's the only other one I could think of.
There's the Usain Bolt one that yes, you
Yeah,
used in that
yeah,
first video. That's similar, but I get what you mean with it,
yeah,
which is okay because like we can refine them consistently, keep refining them as long as you get the principle, the point.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess for the fear of failure and for the fear of failure one, like I've got like as in the island one from before, and I mean Moro obviously did the car one or the bike one. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really have any anymore.
Cool.
And
Cool.
and lack of responsibility is like the fat friend that
Yeah.
you said, like, you got a fat friend.
Yeah. Cool. Good. What the? Oh,
Key boys, I'm gotta go.
you're good. You're good.
But yeah, tomorrow we got the call, right?
Yeah, no
Easy,
worries.
bro. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Enjoy.
Appreciate it.
Ciao.